Okay, what you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Thursdays is back. So thanks everyone for joining. A lot of early birthdays, so that's a great thing to see for the live stream. How is everyone doing? Hope you're all doing well. Hope everyone's trading week is going well as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Yeah, I'll take a look at US 30. I haven't seen US 30 since either yesterday or the day before, so I do not know what's going on with that. Yeah, US 30 is taking a dive. To be fair, a lot of pairs are taking a dive this morning. I did say yesterday or the day before that we could potentially be seeing more downside for US 30. We have approached that daily resistance, so the market is struggling to break through that same area. As you can see, we've had numerous times of price trying to attempt to break through this 1, 2, 3, and I think with this momentum that we're seeing, I think we can actually see US 30 come up all the way down to that support there, because you can see when we had that first reaction we formed this support. Second reaction we actually we got a lower low past that point, so I think we could come back here, maybe even see another lower low as well. So yeah, if that momentum does keep up, then I do see more downside for the US 30, all the way back down to these lows, especially with that potential break of that trend line. Yeah, so a lot more downside for this one. And I think we're just going to see the price just roll over all the way back to those lows and maybe even further. So I think only sells from now on if you're going to trade that pair. Hey Gia, how are you doing? Are you still in pound USD and Euro USD? You still short those pairs? Oh, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. To be fair, some of your, because I know you had a lot of shorts on the JPY pairs, and they've kicked off today, haven't they, William? So yeah, like CAD JPY, CHF JPY, Euro JPY, Pound JPY. So yeah, they've all fallen to the downside. I mean, they've all done what we expected price to do. To be fair, I'm thinking in Pound CAD as well. I'm pretty sure you said in Pound CAD. Yeah, Pound CAD is flying as well, to be fair. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of movement in the markets today. Yeah, a lot of movement in the markets today, which is kind of a good thing, because the past couple months or so the markets have been quite choppy, a bit, not really trending as much. And now potentially we could be seeing some trending markets, hopefully. So yeah, Pound CAD is flying to the upside right now. We had this area of support here in the market, which was then acting as resistance. And as you can see, it looks like today, well, we don't have a daily close above that. We still got, quite a few hours left before that daily candle closes. But, it does look like the market is going to smash through that area. And then if that does keep up, and we see that momentum keep up, then I do see the market coming back to this area. As you can see on the daily chart, we had a really nice range for Pound CAD between 1.74 and 1.72, that support and that resistance. So if the market does close like that, keeping up that momentum, yeah, I do see the market just filling in that gap to the upside, back up to 1.74. Yeah. To be fair to you, I think no, pound is weak, isn't it? Actually, no, it's a little bit of both, to be fair. Pound CHF, Pound USD, Pound JPY falling, Pound AUD, Pound NZD are rising, and Pound CAD as well. So Pound's a little bit of a mixture. Yeah, but I think it's just a weakness in the CAD, really. It's the weakness in the CAD, because across all pairs, Euro CAD, the market is flying. NZD CAD we're pushing up. USD CAD, I'm pretty sure that's flying as well. Pound CAD flying. CAD JPY taking a dive. CAD CHF taking a dive. Big dive there for CAD CHF. So yeah, it's the real weakness in the CAD right now. Nothing really much to do with the pound. As you can see, CAD CHF is very, very bearish right now. And like I did say, after that strong rejection we saw, I believe that'll be Tuesday, after that strong rejection on Tuesday, it does look good for more shorts for CAD CHF. I was expecting the market to take a bit more time, to really kick off to the downside. So I did say a bit more retracement, then the move down. However, pretty much I think maybe the candle after I ended the live stream, or the candle after that, we just took an absolute dive to the downside, and it kicked off this morning. So yeah, CAD CHF very bearish. That's a huge candle there on the daily. So with that momentum, I do expect to see CAD CHF back at these lows here, not too far away. We could potentially even get there by Friday even. So yeah, more shorts for CAD CHF. I probably wouldn't enter. That's a bit too much for me. Probably want to see price retrace a lot more. But yeah, CAD CHF definitely looks like more downside for that pair. And overall, we're just seeing a lot of CAD weakness. A lot of CAD weakness across all pairs really. Yeah, exactly. So you don't have to win every trade. When you get your risk and your reward, to work with each other, you don't have to win every trade, which is a good stress reliever, because if one doesn't go your way, the trade after that, or the trade after that, could potentially wipe out those losses and actually put you in the green. Euro JPY news. I haven't actually checked the news. Let me have a little look now. News. Yeah, so yeah, we've got euro, we've got US dollar, and we've got euro again later on. So in about 3 hours we've got euro, 3 hours we've got US dollar, and then 3 hours 45 minutes we've got a euro again. So yeah, a bit of euro news today. Don't expect too much, but yeah, it might be a little bit of noise with that fundamentals. But yeah, technicals from a point of view for Euro JPY is still looking quite bearish. We came back into that same support that we were expecting price to come to, that 130 area, and we did see some new lows past that point. I reckon we could actually smash through this, maybe come into this sort of area for Euro JPY potentially. Again, it's quite a big drop to the downside, so like normal, a bit of retracement up. Again, very strong area of support. You can see a massive move to the upside, so I'm expecting some type of reaction. We already had a slight reaction from that area previously, so slight reaction, and then I think more downside for Euro JPY, because again, if we do take a look at the higher time frames, look at the weekly, we've had a huge bullish run there. So even from a weekly point of view, we could potentially come all the way back down to around this area here potentially. I'm not going to call that, a bit of a bold call there, because that is quite a big move if Euro JPY was to do that, but that's just to say that there's a lot of downside Euro JPY could potentially go to, and I think that's the same thing with just other JPY pairs really, because for a long time we saw a lot of JPY weakness, and now we're starting to see some JPY strength coming back into these markets. So yeah, Euro JPY looks good for more downside for this one. Yeah, a really nice drop on pound JPY as well. I did not get involved in that one. I was still in pound USD, so I didn't get involved in that trade, but I think we did get some nice retracement back off this area here. So some few wicks into that area yesterday, and then as you can see, we took a bit of time, but then this morning really just kicked off to the downside. So yeah, it was a great move there on pound JPY. The market did take off really well. I think we can see some more downside as well for this one. We did see some new lows just spiked past those previous lows there, so the market has taken those lows. So I do expect a bit of retracement now, but then I do expect to see some further continuation after that. Pound USD, I'm still actually in this short trade. It's taking its time, I'm not going to be honest with you. Kind of wish took pound JPY instead of pound USD, but again, that's all with hindsight. I had no idea which pair was going to play out better than the other one. Again, a bit of a fake out that we saw earlier on in the live stream. I did take some partials after that move, but I was still quite fairly confident that pound USD was still on its way to the downside. I still did expect to see pound USD come back to these lows, and I still do expect to see pound USD come back to those lows. I think it's just having a bit of a tough time breaking through that support is on right now around the 1.37700 area, and then I think we can get a break of that and see some more downside back into those lows. But yeah, I'm still holding those pound USD shorts, and yeah, see if we can get some new lows potentially for that one, because GJ hit some new lows, and I think pound USD just wants to follow that, but it's having a tough time doing that. Yeah, exactly. You just got to trust the process at the end of the day. Loss wins are all part of the game. It doesn't matter how good you get at trading. You're always going to lose. So it's always the belief that your wins will outshine your losses. And once you have that, confidence to know that, okay, if I do lose this trade, it doesn't really matter, because if I look by the end of the week or by the end of the month, that trade should be taken care of anyway, regardless. So, it's kind of like when you get to a point where you almost don't care what the trade gives you, whether it's a loss or a win. Very hard to do to have zero care of the outcome of the trade, but because we have no control whether the trade wins or loses, we should technically have no care with it. But yeah, much easier said than done. Yeah, sure, I'll take a look at pound JPY for you a little bit more. Okay, so yeah, pound JPY, yesterday we were looking for more shorts for pound JPY. The market did see a nice retracement here. I think this was during the live stream. We were seeing this retracement, and I said from this area here, we do expect to see a move to the downside. We didn't quite hit the 50%, but we were kind of in that area of interest where the market could reject. You can see previous support took us to the upside, came down, and now tested that resistance. So, kind of textbook break and retest really. So yeah, we tested that area, and then as you can see, the momentum kicked in, bit of retracement overnight, and then we kicked off to the downside. So pound JPY, from a daily point of view, we were still quite bearish for this pair. You can see, looking at this price action here, very, very choppy. Big move to the downside, breaking through some structural levels, so giving us some new lows. This was a pullback here to the upside, back into that same area of supply. Nice move down, bit of consolidation on the daily, which is just basically noise. Some people are thinking the market's going to go bullish, some people are thinking the market's going to go bearish, but from a structural point of view, the market was still bearish, and still expected to see the market back at this support. So all this was just noise, and then we had the follow through to the downside. So pound JPY is still bearish from a higher time frame point of view. 4H still very bearish here as well. For this one as well, I expect it to go next. I think this is the next area of support where I do think potentially pound JPY can go. I think we do have a little bit of a trend line here, maybe connecting that wick. So we've got a first test here. Just trying to highlight these areas. So first test there, second test here, and we just had a third test right now. So I'm expecting a bit of retrace for pound JPY a little bit, but I do expect to see a break of this trend line and price come back into this support around the 150 area. So if anything, I'm only looking for shorts for pound JPY, sorry. Only looking for shorts for pound JPY. As of right now, not really want to do anything to it, because we've just seen that big drop on the downside, and unless you're already in the trade, probably don't want to be getting in now. There's, if anything, probably short-term buys, but yeah, I'm only looking to sell pound JPY. So probably want to see the market retrace a little bit to the upside. We do have a nice area here of support and resistance, a nice area of resistance there, support as well. So if the market was to retrace to the upside back to here, give us some nice confirmations, we could probably look to go and sell it again. A little bit on the risky side because you do have the trend line right there, but I do expect to see a break of it anyway, and then come back down to 150 or break and retest of the trend line, something like that would be good to look for. But yeah, pound JPY has already had that big drop, so for this one I'll probably stay out this pair until next week probably. I don't think anything would happen between now and Friday. We might see a bit more downside, but nothing really too much to get involved with. So pound JPY, more shorts that I am seeing back down to 150, but I think it's more next week. We should get more interested in this pair. As for this week, I think the move's over. We'll probably see a bit more downside, maybe a bit of consolidation, because we have hit that trend line. Might see a bit of a bounce to the upside, but you know, unless we come back to this area here, you know, I'm not seeing too much for pound JPY there. But when we do have a nice opportunity, you know, more shorts back down to 150. Let me see the news. I mean, we do have pound news, but you know, on my FX book, it's only medium impact. A lot of news though, but it's only medium impact. CAD, we do have some high impact news, unemployment rate. So I don't know. To be fair, I mean, I would say wait to see what the daily candle gives you. Wait to see what the daily candle gives you. Trail stop loss is not a bad shout, but I'll say wait to see what the daily candle gives you, because pound CAD right now, you know, very, 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 very bullish. Of course, we still got about, you know, another 11 hours or something like that before this candle closes, so we could pull back or, you know, carry on and do whatever. But I'll probably wait for that candle to close and then see what that information is giving you. If it's closing similar to how it's looking right now, then I probably wouldn't. I'll probably just trail my stop loss. And not get out, because I think with that type of close there's a good chance we'll probably see the market continue to the upside and come back and retest this resistance here. Because normally when you see a big false breakout like what we had here, you know, nice area of resistance there, a big false breakout and then the move down, we normally do see a retest of this area and then the collapse. Whereas this one, we did not see the retest of that. So I think the market's coming back here to have that retest up there, you know, and fill those orders in. So I think there's a really high probable chance that pound CAD still wants to move to 1.74. And yeah, with a daily close looking like that, you know, really far past that support, I think that momentum is just going to take you into that resistance up there. Whether it does it by Friday or maybe sometime next week, not too sure. But I don't think the news will affect it too much. So yeah, I'll probably just trail my stop loss, and not too aggressively either, because of the news. You want to give it a little bit of buffer, a bit of room to work with. So yeah, I think more upside. Yeah, even the retest. I mean, we don't have to necessarily come and hit that resistance straight away. You know, we could come back down, retest that, and then continue to the upside. You know, the market can do, you know, either the retest or just straight continuation. But either way, with that momentum, I think, you know, it's looking good for more upside for pound CAD. So I probably wouldn't exit, because the odds are really much in your favor for the pound CAD to continue or have that retest. Trail stop loss is not a bad shout, but I think you're still in the money with this trade. Obviously, it could be wrong. To be fair, I could be so wrong, but from what it looks like, you know, it looks like you're in a good trade here, and I think back to 1.74 does look very, very likely. EuroCAD recently, again, pound CAD, EuroCAD, similar pairs. Again, EuroCAD is pushing to the upside really, really aggressively here as well. With this one, again, we still got 11 hours till that candle closes, but you know, we're clearing this resistance here at the moment right now, but it's up to what that candle wants to do by the end of the day, if it wants to pull back or continue. Because we were looking at a lot of pairs, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, we were looking at a lot of pairs that were looking quite bullish in the morning, and then by the time the daily candle closes, they've all pulled back quite a substantial amount, and either closed bearish. Even like AUDCHF, we were looking at that. We were looking at AUDCHF on Tuesday, believing you see we're actually having a massive drop to the downside right now. You see this big wick here to the upside, that was a bullish candle at one point, and you know, it looked like potentially price was going to close above there, but it's so important to wait for those candles to close, because it did pull back there, closed bearish, and that was a big indication that actually we're not going up, we're coming back down, because this big wick here, a lot of people will be impulsively buying that as it's pushing to the upside. And then by the end of the day, when the candle closes, all it is just a false break, you know, a liquidity grab. All the people with stop losses up here are just trying to buy that move, you know, would have got faked out, and then, you know, you can grab the liquidity it needs to have this sort of move to the downside. So So important to wait for candles to close. ADCHF, that's a very textbook, false break, then the move. We had that a lot in the JPY pairs. Pound JPY, we had that false breakout. We're going the 4H. You can see what we had there. So we had the resistance here in the market. Had the false breakout there, very slight, so not as obvious as ADCHF, but the false breakout there. And after that, we see the momentum to the downside. So very textbook. It happens quite often, and when you can spot it, it does really help in the markets there. So that's just what I'm saying with EuroCAD at the moment in time. It's looking very, very bullish, and it looks like potentially EuroCAD could have found a bottom, because we do have a really strong area of support here. The market's been moving sideways. We tested once, we came back in again, tested it again, and now we're pushing to the upside really aggressively. So EuroCAD does look good for potential reversals, but I probably want to see a strong daily close above this zone, above 1.48300, give or take. But yeah, waiting for that daily close. Still got 11 hours. A lot can happen there in the markets. But yeah, if EuroCAD does close like that, I think on the lower time frames, if you're looking to take advantage of this move, a little bit of retracement back into this area, back on the 4H, hourly, see what the market does if we can hold that. And then if it does hold, it can use our smaller time frames and see a bigger move to the upside after that. We do have this area here, some price support there, a bit of supply, so we could actually go fill that gap really nicely. So EuroCAD is looking good for buys at this moment in time, but we'll see at the end of the day what type of price action we are getting. Euro GBP, this pair we've had recently a very strong reaction to the upside. It's looking like price is really struggling to break through this support here. We've had a really nice big reaction there. As you can see the size of that candle, we've come back. Now we've seen a very strong reaction again, and now a very strong reaction again. So we've had 3 very strong reactions there from coming to test this level. So it's telling us that the market really does not want to go and break through this level. So if we do see another strong daily close like that, I think Euro GBP potentially might be finding a little bit of a bottom there, and we could be seeing a break of this trend line, and we could see some upside. I probably wouldn't buy it until we have the break of the trend line, but with holding that area as it is doing right now, potential double bottom, there's some room for that upside. I think on the weekly time frame as well, we're running out momentum to the downside as well. You can see we had a nice drop, and then we've lost all that bearish momentum, all these wicks here to the downside, to the upside as well. So it does look like we're running out that bearish momentum, and we could flip bullish quite quickly and see price come back all the way to this high up here. Again, this is a weekly time frame, so a bit more longer perspective, but it does contribute to the decision that price is failing to go lower and could potentially go higher. So if I was going to trade this pair, I'd probably wait for another daily close and price to get above that trend line. Price to get above that trend line there, come back down, maybe retest it, find a bit of support, and then we can go long after that. But yeah, I'll probably wait for the daily candle to close. GPNSD, GPAD, did you take those trades yesterday? Are you looking for short or long? So we did see quite a big move on those pairs, didn't we? Yeah, GPNSD quite a big move up, GPAD big move up as well. So I assume you probably would try to sell them. I mean, pound NSD, pound AED, they do tend to move quite similar. So maybe next time, maybe choose the better pair of those two pairs. So the better setup, the better opportunity. So you don't have to lose 2 trades. You can only lose one. Just save your money a little bit more. But yeah, for these 2 pairs, we did see quite a big movement up. Of course, with the weakness of the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar, we did see these pairs push to the upside quite aggressively. I did say if we do break through this trend line, there's a good chance price will probably push this resistance. And for this one, I think maybe it would have helped you give a bit more clarity on these 2 pairs. If you were looking at the daily time frame, that might have helped. I reckon. I don't know if you did or you didn't. But on the daily time frame, you can see but the day before you took the trade, so Tuesday. Just clear that for a second. The day before you took those trades, we had this indecision candle here. So market is basically failing to break through this support. And when you see candles like that, it's indicating that there's not much momentum in the pairs. So looking for sells, yeah, it could work. It could work. Anything could work in these markets, but the chance of price was going to come down, break through that support. You need to see a lot of momentum after that. So you are kind of up against it, looking for those sells. But then I understand probably why you would get in though, because the market is making clear lower lows, lower highs. And we did push back into some resistance, so it did make sense there. And at the end of the day, you're not going to win every trade, so that's perfectly fine. Everyone loses trades all the time. It's just how you manage them, really. So as long as you kept your risk low, you've done well. And GPAD, similar thing here as well. We did see the daily candle close a little bit bullish, I believe. Yeah, we did. So you can see he did close quite bullish there, and a big wick to the downside. That's again showing signs that the daily doesn't really want to head to the downside. And we did hold that support there as well. So yeah, obviously there's reasons here to go short as well. Trend line there, nice clear reason to go short. And again, you don't win all your trades, but GPND and GPAD do move quite similar. So maybe next time just pick one of them, so you don't have to take 2 losses. You can just take 1. But yeah, we lose trades all the time. There's nothing wrong with that. And look, another pair with AUD, a lot of weakness to the downside as well. For this one, we did come in contact with that trend line there. I believe that was on Tuesday. And now you can see we're falling to the downside. Again, for this one, we did have target 0.74 for AUD USD, which is this area here, prior weekly resistance, taking all the way here to weekly support. So we're just going on a weekly time frame quickly. You can see here, really nice weekly resistance and now weekly support. So that is where we do see AUSD going here to 0.74. As you can see, really nice bearish price action. So the momentum is on our side there. So I reckon a bit of retrace, because we did recently just see some new lows here on that 4H candle closure. So expecting to see a bit of retracement, but I think later on today, or potentially later tomorrow, I think we will see that momentum pick up again and see another push back down to 0.74. Wow, who said that? Who said that, William? Yeah, no problem, David, no problem. I mean, we lose trades all the time, to be fair. So yeah, there's things that potentially you might see, I might not see, or I see and you might not see, and that could be the reason why we lose trades, which is so important that we go over our trades and just see potentially where we went wrong, and then if we did learn from that and just take that into the next one. But yeah, it was good trades, and there were reasons to go short there, so you've got that understanding there. It's just that not every trade is going to work. Currently still in NZJPY shorts here, looking for a move to the downside. My TP is just below this area here. Nice area of support, and I think we can push past there. Did put this one on the Telegram. Yeah, so NZJPY, I was talking to you guys yesterday. I do believe I was talking to you guys about NZJPY shorts, a lot of JPY shorts, to be fair. Pound JPY, CAD JPY. So yeah, pound JPY shorts were looking quite good. I got in an hourly time frame on that candle there, a really nice bearish candle. We did pull back up to this resistance. I was initially looking at this support here in the market, so we had a really nice area of support here. It was flipped to resistance. I was looking at that area first to go get short, but as you can see by those candles there, not much momentum in those candles. So I waited to see if we can get a nice change in that bearish momentum. It didn't come until we came back to retest this trend line and retest that resistance. Then we saw a nice sharp move, and then I looked to get in there. stop loss just above that area, and then again targeting this area all the way down there. We have tapped into this area, so I'm expecting some type of reaction, but I do think NZJPY is still good for more shorts. We might come back up, retest this area, maybe consolidate a little bit, and then go break to the downside. But yeah, just holding off for price to push past this point, because you can see for a lot of the JPY pairs, we recently made some new lows. So I think NZJPY is going to follow them soon enough, if not this week, probably early next week. Follow them and give some new lows there to the downside as well. So yeah, still in NZJPY. Already took some partials anyway, so just going to see how that pair does play out. Which pairs I'm looking at? Euro NZD. I'm looking at Euro NZD. Haven't really secured my bias for this one, but either way, I think we could be in for a good move to the upside or to the downside. Euro NZD, we do have this key level that I've been looking at for this pair. So really nice area of support, resistance all across there. And we have this nice area of support here as well. So the market has a range here between this support and that resistance. We were fluctuating between those two levels quite some time. We did poke our head above this area here, but it wasn't sustained. A bit of a false move there. We came back for the retest, then plummeted again to the downside earlier on this week. And now we've had quite a big move back into that same resistance. So Euro NZD for me is still pushing to the upside. It is still giving us higher highs and higher lows. You can see we've got a nice low there, another low there. So we're still forming these higher lows. So I think the market, even though it's quite choppy and we can say it's consolidating, is still technically bullish. So I think if Euro NZD can get past this resistance here, so 1.69700, I think Euro NZD is on for a move back to this resistance here. We do also have this trend line as well. If I connect these lows here, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4, but I'm treating that as a false move. So as long as price comes back, I'm expecting to see some retracement to the downside for USD now, because we did have quite a big move into this resistance here, and I'm expecting to see some retracement to the downside. I think we'll come into contact of a trend line here as well on the full H, so connect those highs there. So 1, 2, 3 there. So I'm expecting a bit of retracement now, coming to a strong area of resistance, and I want to see if price can stay above that trend line there for me. Come back down, hold that trend line as support, maybe come and test this area here as well. And then if you do hold this area, I'll probably look to go long, target that resistance there, and then probably target that resistance all the way up there. So I am seeing a lot of upside here for USD, and on the weekly as well. If I go on the weekly time frame, I know the weekly candle hasn't closed yet. We still do have another day and about 12 hours left, but if the weekly candle closes similar to how it's looking now, that's a really nice strong candlestick pattern, a nice hammer candle with a nice long wick to the downside, and then pull back up, closing bullish. So there's a good chance that next week's candle will be bullish as well. It might tap back into those highs up there. So if I can get a nice candle closure like that on the weekly, that would be great. So I'm waiting for a bit of retrace, and if we can stay above this trend line, that will be a false break, the retest, and then looking for price to continue, because I still do see weakness in the NZD right now. Yeah, William, those ads are crazy, to be fair. I've seen a lot of ads which do raise my eyebrows, I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, of course, John. You can easily have a losing day for a winning week. You can have a losing week for a winning month as well. Don't forget that. That is a big one as well. NZJPY buys, yeah, you can. It is at support. I personally wouldn't. One reason because I'm actually selling the pair, but another reason because I still do see room for more for more shorts to the downside. So yeah, clear support there. We've tapped into that support, so obvious support there. Price is reacting to that area. Yeah, you can buy it, but I personally wouldn't. all of this momentum there against you on the higher time frames. I'll just move that out of the way. All this momentum against you there. The market is quite bearish here for NZJPY. You can see very strong move. If you're going to buy it, it's probably just going to buy the retrace. I'm probably just going to buy the retracement up. So if you do buy, it's probably in and out very quickly. Probably not really scalping, but a few pips to the upside. If you're lucky, you might get a move back into this resistance, or maybe even up to there. That might be a really good move. But yeah, overall my bias is firmly to the downside for NZJPY. So I personally wouldn't buy that, because I still do see the market pushing back up, rolling back over to the downside, and potentially going even further. So yes, we're at support, but the market for me is quite bearish, and support breaks in a bearish market, resistance holds. So if anything, I'll probably wait for the market maybe to come back up to this area, a nice area of resistance, price support, now resistance, see what type of price action we get here, and then look for shorts back into these lows, and then even further if you wanted to. So I'd rather sell the pair and wait for the market to come here, then short, rather than buy from here, just because my bias is to the downside. Okay, never knew that, William, to be fair. Appreciate that. Euro USD. Yeah, Euro USD, we did see some nice momentum to the downside, kind of just after I ended my live stream. We are pushing back to the upside here. Euro USD has kind of hit my area, which I was expecting price to come to. So I do go on the daily, this area here of demand, sorry. You can see here we did have this bearish candle, then we had a big burst to the upside. So this is kind of the area where I'm expecting price for Euro USD to get to. So it's kind of hit that target. So obviously Euro USD is still very much a bearish market, could still go further, but I'd be a bit wary, maybe trade stop loss a little bit further, or maybe take some partials off, just because Euro USD potentially has the room to retrace a little bit more. I mean, it still is a bearish market, so still technically not much for a reason to close the trade. But right now we've seen a nice dive to the downside, and we're seeing a big push back up again, which does not fill me with too much confidence there for Euro USD. So yeah, in my opinion, I wouldn't say it's going bullish, but it does look quite bullish. I think we'll probably get another test of this kind of area of resistance here. If we do break through that, I'll probably consider getting out. I'll probably consider getting out of that trade. But yeah, Euro USD is still technically bearish, but I think it's come back to a nice area of demand. We've seen quite a big reaction from that area. Yeah, we could easily fall back to the downside again from that same resistance. But if we do go and break through that, I think I'll probably start raising my eyebrows if Euro USD was to do that. That probably at least partials at least. Take off some money off if that was to happen. But yeah, it's the big reaction that I don't like, to be fair. If it was just slowly pushing to the upside from that area, then yeah, that would fill me with a little bit more confidence. But the fact that we've had quite a nice drop and quite a nice push back up is not looking too good there. But yeah, the market is still technically bearish, so it could just be a bit more retrace to the upside and then the drop back down. But I'm not too sure where you entered Euro USD, so I don't imagine your entries all the way up there, maybe somewhere around there potentially. So you want to protect your trade a little bit. I mean, where is your targets, Chio? Where's your targets for Euro USD? Yeah, sure thing. Euro JPY. Yeah, no problem, Chia, no problem. Yeah, Euro JPY, this is the zone. that I have drawn on the daily time frame. So this is the daily clear area of support here. You can see we consolidated for ages here, and then we took a really nice move to the upside. So I'm expecting price to have some type of reaction from this area, because you can see huge push to the upside. I'm not expecting to see another huge push to the upside again. It could obviously still happen, but I'm not going to call that this early. The market's still quite bearish on the daily. But yeah, nice area here in the market where we did see quite a substantial move up. So I think we have tapped into that area. You can see that, yeah, we tapped into that area there in the 4H, and we're really starting to push to the upside down that hourly. So yeah, the market is quite bearish, but I think we can see some retracement now for Euro JPY. Again, I'll probably be a bit cautious, be a bit aggressive with that trade, because you know the market is quite bearish, so you are up against it a little bit here with that trade. So I'll probably, you know, take partials a little bit quicker. You know, maybe not be too aggressive with your targets. Maybe bring them a bit shorter, and maybe get yourself to break even slightly quicker, because Euro JPY, although it's looking quite bullish now, you know, it could change bearish quite quickly, just because, you know, daily 4 hour the market is still quite bearish there. But yeah, as for the zone, it would be it would be that area that I just drew down daily. That is kind of the zone where you do expect to see a bounce to the upside, because again, you did see a huge move to the upside. Now we're back at that same area again. So yeah, expecting to see a nice push up again, but I think it's just going to be retracement for the market to eventually collapse back again to the downside. So yeah, don't stay in that trade for too long. TP 1.174. Okay, all the way down there. So basically targeting kind of that wick sort of there on the daily. So that area there on the 4H, yeah, it does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. To be fair, you could still potentially get fall to that area, but I think it all depends, Chia, of where you've entered. To be fair, of where you've entered, because if you've entered, you know, at this resistance here or at that resistance there, then yeah, I'll probably wait it out to that 1.17400 area. But if you entered quite close to where price is now, then it might you know, stop you out and then move to your area. It might do a deeper retracement and then move back to your area. Because if you ended up here, you know, you can just have stop loss at break even, take some partials, or you know, or whatever, and then the price will probably just eventually, you know, do what it wants to do, and then eventually just fall to the downside, back to your TP. But because you're so close to it, it might retrace to your entry first before going to your TP. David, I mean, it's essentially the same area, to be fair, because if you look to the left of you, the only thing on the 4H we've got is kind of this area here on the 4H, and on the hourly it would be, you know, this kind of area here, which we've had a break of that area. Of course, it could just be a false break because we're pushing back up quite aggressively. But if I just go on the 4H and just scroll across, the area kind of would be about here-ish on the 4H, so that support there. And you can see we've kind of tapped into that on the hourly time frame. We've kind of tapped into that support there quite nicely, giving us those tweezer bottoms, kind of 1, 2, and now pushing back up again. So I think, yeah, we could push maybe back above that area, and if we do, we can go a little bit further. You know, potentially maybe this sort of area here, you know, where we had that consolidation there and a nice drop to the downside. So we could potentially push back to this area here, which would be a nice trade before maybe the market pushing back down again, and just seeing that overall momentum take us lower. So yeah, that is the zone there that I think you're buying from, to see a push higher on. 137.90. Let's take a look. 137.90, so around about this area here. I mean, with current momentum, I don't think it will. I don't think it will hit your stop loss back here. From a technical point of view, it could do, it could retrace back there to retest this area, because, this was kind of like our last kind of major lower high. Nice push down, then we did retrace, and then we collapsed to the downside again. So if the market wants to retrace to go and hit the previous resistance of the market, it would be around that area, on the 130, 790, 800 area, and then potentially could come down. So from a technical point of view, yes, it could potentially retrace there, but the market is looking quite bearish now, quite a big drop there. I think the daily still got a little bit more to give to the downside there as well. So yeah, I don't think it would, I don't think it will, but I think it eventually will retrace back to that area, just because we've seen 1, 2, potentially 3 bearish days of very strong momentum there. So the market might want to retrace maybe next week. So yeah, potentially it could actually come back to your break even, but with the momentum you're seeing in the markets now, I don't think so as of yet. Yeah, nice tier. Just take some profits. At the end of the day, you don't control the markets anyway, so I could be wrong. You could be, the market just could drop to 1.174. It could do whatever it wants. So the important thing is to secure some profits, and just let the market do its thing. You have your TP, you're gonna respect that TP, take your partials off, and just see what the market gives you at the end of the day. I mean, GU, I think you still said you're in GU, so GU still giving you some profits there as well. I know this one's taking its time as well, but again, you're probably still in profit there as well. So at the end of the day, you're still winning, which is the important thing. No problem, David. No problem, David. Again, guys, if you're looking at any different pairs, any different charts, or if you know any trades as well, feel free to share. We'll take a look at them together, see what's happening, see what other ideas people have, because I know sometimes I look at the charts, you guys might spot something that I miss, and could potentially help some other people out as well. So yeah, any trades you're in, or any ideas you've got, or any pairs you're looking at, feel free to share. We'll take a look at them, see how they're getting on. Take a look at gold. I haven't seen what gold's doing since yesterday, to be fair. So gold looks like it's had another push to the upside for this pair. We had that nice break of that area, and we come back to retest it, and now we found support again at that area. So we're still technically bullish here for gold. I haven't traded this pair for a week or so. Last time I traded was around this area here. Not that move down, but kind of the move before it. So yeah, I haven't touched gold in quite some time after that big drop. I want to see what gold wants to do first, before seeing a better opportunity. It is coming back to this area here of support, which is now resistance, so we might do something there for gold. We've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullish candles there in a row for gold, so we are due to see a bearish candle, some retracement, and I think the market is still just retracing this big bearish move. If I was to take a fib of that move there, we've only just reached the 0.382, the 0.5, 50% is up there, 0.618 is all up there as well. So if the market is just retracing that move, it still does have a lot of upside if it wants to, but from a technical standpoint, we'll come back to an area of resistance here, price support resistance, so we might be seeing a reaction from this. On the lower time frames, 4H was still quite bullish there, hourly still quite bullish there as well. So at this moment, there's not really much there from gold to buy or sell really. Yes, you could look to sell from that resistance, but hourly there's nothing much. 15 minute, there's nothing much going there. The market is still quite bullish, so selling this, you're taking it quite risky. Even though, yes, we're at resistance, but that's quite strong 4H candle close as well. So momentum is still very much to the upside. If it was me, I'm still on the sidelines for gold. Want to see a bit more clarity with that pair. Maybe next week there might be some clarity there. A nice opportunity. If there is, I will share it with you guys. But yeah, at this moment in time, I'm not seeing much for gold. Don't really want to buy into resistance, and I think it's a bit too early to sell for that resistance as well. USD CAD, yeah, USD CAD is running riot right now. If we go on the daily, yeah, USD CAD is pushing to the upside really aggressively right now. I did say we do have targets here, 1.26, 1.26500 for USD CAD, which is this resistance up there. I did expect USD CAD to go and hit that area. It's doing it much quicker than I expected. If I'm going to be honest, doing much quicker than I expected. I thought we'll probably see a bit of deeper retracement first before we do see the break of the trend line, but we did have a nice close above Tuesday, which I wasn't too confident about, but then we had the second close above, which kind of confirmed that. And if I go in the 4H, we did have that retest there as well, that trend line. So the market, yeah, is quite bullish, and very strong close there, and it is still flying to the upside. So I think USD CAD can still go a little bit more, test this resistance here. From there, I think we might see a bit of retracement then, because quite a big move up and quite a big move down from that same resistance, and we did have a lot of wicks in that area. So I think we'll probably test that area, maybe see a bit of a move to the downside, and then we'll probably judge what USD CAD wants to do from there, because it is breaking this trend line. And if I do zoom out, you can see USD CAD's being in a bearish trend for for a very long time. If I just move that out of the way, it's been a bearish trend since the 24th of March 2020. So over a year we've been in a bearish trend here, and we have broken this trend line. I wouldn't say that trend line means that we're bullish now, but the market is certainly pushing to the upside here. So yeah, more upside for USD CAD back into this kind of 1.26500 area, and then potential a move back down from that same area as well. Yeah, exactly, William. Exactly. It doesn't matter if you miss the trades. It's all that matters are the trades that you do take, really. Because there's so many pairs to trade, and there's no way you're going to catch all of them. Between Euro USD and Pound USD, well, as in for movements to the downside here, as in more bearish, more room to the downside, I'll probably say the price action on Euro USD is not filling me with too much confidence. GPUSD is a little bit more. I feel a little bit more confident with that pair, not because I'm in the trade, just because the price action is a little bit better. We're still failing to break through the support, but you can see we are still keeping up these lower lows. I mean, these lower highs here in the market. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still keeping up those lows there. So the market is still trying to break through that support. So I still do see GPUSD pushing to the downside. Euro USD, I still do see room to the downside, but the current price action is not filling me with too much confidence there. So I would say Pound USD is looking a little bit better for shorts right now, and I think we could see the market go and fill this range here to the downside and come and test this support down here finally, and maybe give us some new lows. Euro USD, I still do think there's room, like I said, but we're pushing to the upside. We're back in that resistance. If we do see a break of that, then yeah, GPUSD is looking a bit better than Euro USD. Yeah, I mean, I was watching the football again as well, to be fair. I wasn't checking my trades at all during the game, so that was quite good. But yeah, again, because the football's at night, and then your daily candle closes at night as well, so it's kind of a bit of a distraction because your daily candle's closing, but you're watching football. Yeah. So USD CAD is bullish on the daily. Yeah, weekly I agree, still bearish there. I think for weekly to turn bullish for USD CAD, we probably have to break through that resistance that I said there. If we can break through that, then USD CAD on the weekly does look quite bullish, I would say, because the price action here is giving us quite a nice, very choppy price action. The market had, barely any momentum there. We were moving to the downside, but barely any momentum there on the weekly. Then we took this big dive to the downside, and the market took a big push back up again. Very strong sign that the market wants to reverse, kind of like a V pattern, or a bit of just like a false move, really. That's how I look at it, to be fair. When the market does a quick spike down and a quick spike back up, or vice versa, normally just means that the market, faked out, it's coming back strongly, and we could be seeing the market continue to the upside, I think, from a weekly point of view. So it hasn't happened yet, but I do think the weekly is going to turn bullish soon. Daily, is definitely really bullish as well. So more upside for these pairs, but I do think we'll see some retracement at that 1.26, at that 1.26 500 level, and then we'll potentially go break it after that. Yeah, I can see Euro reversing after that, to be fair. And if it is going to do it, it might do it, quite with a kick to it. But again, it is a little bit indecisive, and I mean, if you do have your stop loss at break even, it shouldn't matter too much, because if it does, play out in your direction, then happy days. But then again, if it goes against you, stops you out, you don't lose any of your profits. You're secured at break even. But yeah, I still do think downside for Euro USD. But yeah, we might spike up first. Just depends how that meeting goes, to be fair. Yeah, so a lot of these pairs here are taking big dives today. I mean, CHF is still going, which is crazy. In terms of strength, I mean, CHF is still going. ADCHF still falling to the downside. NZD-CHF still falling to the downside as well. So, we're falling out the sky with a lot of these pairs. JPY pairs had a big kick. USD not so much. But yeah, JPY, CHF, very strong pairs right now. You see USD-CHF falling to the downside, was probably looking for buys there, but that one collapsed to the downside. USD-JPY was again looking for buys as well, but that one collapsed to the downside. So I think with USD-JPY, we might actually be turning bearish here, because I did say if the market holds onto this support, I do see USD-JPY coming back all the way to that resistance up there. But as you can see, we actually are breaking through that level. So with that strong break there, potentially might be turning bearish now for USD-JPY. We do have this resistance here as well. We do have resistance there as well. But yeah, it looks like potentially that's a bit of a false breakout there. Poked the heads above, and now we're coming back down. So yeah, I could see that happen there for USD-JPY. Yeah, CHF JPY not moving as well as the other JPY pairs, because CHF is just just so strong right now. It's crazy. Yes, that's pushing up. Very strong candle closure there on the 4H. Nice wick to the downside, pushing back up again. So yeah, CHF, smart decision to close that trade. We've done well there to close that trade for CHF JPY, because we are seeing so much strength there. CAD CHF still falling out the sky as well, and I know the CAD is weak, so them two are just absolutely loving life, falling out the sky. pound CHF taking a big dive to the downside. This pair, I did say I was expecting to see a move to the downside. To be fair, after we did see that big strong bearish candle there, I was expecting this to be retracement and the continuation. But the way it happened, of course, was not expecting to see that happen. I thought the market's going to consolidate for a little bit longer, maybe give us some lower highs coming back down into this area and then eventually break. But as you can see, one candle just took everything out. If I just measure that quickly, it's around 110 pips with one candle. That is crazy. So yeah, CHF mad strength right now. We're coming back into the same support here from for GBCHF. On the weekly time frame, it looks like potentially the market's found resistance here, and we could be seeing more downside for this pair. You can see pound CHF for quite a few weeks we were rallying to the upside, giving us some new highs, new lows every single week basically. And then we had that big bearish candle there on the weekly time frame. This consolidation, I think we might be seeing some continuation now, to some new lows, but below that point there. So I think pound CHF, if anything, shorts. It's a little bit of a choppy pair, but if anything, shorts, because from a weekly point of view, it looks like we've had this big move to the downside, bit of consolidation / pullback, and then the continuation to the downside. So for this pair, I think for next week, I'll probably be looking for shorts if I do see a clear opportunity. Retracement back up to this sort of area would be great. Although after that big drop, I'm not sure if it would get there. If it does, that'd be great to retrace back up to that area. So back up there, hold a resistance, and then short it back down. Then targets will probably be this prior low here, and then potentially past that as well. So yeah, CHF very strong. It looks like it might keep it up into next week. The way pound CHF is looking, Euro CHF probably doing the exact same thing. Yeah, exact same thing there, falling to the downside. Again, we did have a nice bearish bias on this one as well, because of last week we had a very strong daily candle close on Friday or Thursday, probably Friday maybe. Very strong candle close there, as you can see, engulfing all of these candles here for Euro CHF. So we knew the momentum was very much to the downside here for Euro CHF. So yeah, we had a bit of consolidation. There for Euro CHF, and then big colossal move to the downside. And again this morning, same basic thing, and Euro CHF is continuing there. So overall, Euro CHF still very much a bearish market. Pound CHF looks like it wants to follow, and your AD CHF that's fallen to that's still falling. Wow, it's really going this pair. So yeah, it's a huge movement. So yeah, I'm thinking more downside. We'll probably see some upside though in terms of retracement, because that's quite a big move. But NZD-CHF, same thing, falling to the downside. USD-CHF, same thing. So yeah, CHF very strong. I think we'll probably see some retracement, but I think we'll probably see that continue into next week with the way things are looking. Yeah, it is quite crazy to see. The big fall off in the hype of crypto, it has been crazy right now. Bitcoin's still looking bearish here. There's no real momentum there in the markets, to be fair. We might see another drop there, so the momentum might pick up a bit, but again, there's not much there. And again, a lot of people on Twitter talking about buying Bitcoin. And a lot of people now saying Bitcoin's going back to zero. It's just a little bit all over the place, to be fair. Yeah, I still see more downside for this pair as well. Could even come back to here, retest this point here, and then potentially come back up again. But yeah, I'm still seeing more downside for Bitcoin, and like you said, there's barely any momentum in that. But yeah, I do remember when people just buying all of that, pushing it to the upside, and then big collapse. And that was not a pretty day for a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. It won't go to zero. It's gone to. It won't go to zero. It's gone too far to come back to zero. A lot of countries are actually recognizing Bitcoin as an actual, an actual coin with value. So I don't think we'll ever go back to zero now. Can obviously still go down a lot further, but I don't think we'll go to zero. And yeah, Bitcoin's looking bearish again here on the 4H. You can see all these lower highs here, 1, 2, 3. Keeping that trend line there, and looking like it's pushing past that point there as well. So from the way that Bitcoin's looking right now, I think a bit of retracement, and then another leg lower back down to these lows here, and maybe even further as well. So yeah, it looks like more downside for Bitcoin in the next coming weeks or so. If it can break through that weekly support that price is kind of struggling to break through right now, so if it can break through this, then it does open the door to a lot more downside. And after quite a big substantial move like that, it does look quite likely that the market wants to break through, because we have all this bearish momentum. This here looks like just to be a bit of retracement slash consolidation, pullback, and then we're probably going to see the follow through eventually. So yeah, Bitcoin looks like more downside for that one. AU, so for that one, expecting more downside. AUD/USD, we had targets at 0.74 for that pair. This resistance here now turns support, so that's where we were expecting price to come into for AUD/USD, and that is looking likely. Price looks like it's pushing into that area. So yeah, a bit more downside for AUD/USD. I did say I was expecting a bit of retrace now since we just made some new lows, but of course the market doesn't have to do that. So yeah, I wouldn't look to get into any AUD/USD or NZD/USD trades right now with the market looking that bearish. Actually, no, maybe NZD. I'll take a look at that in a second. But AU anyway, very, very bearish here. I think still see some downsides, kind of almost at the zone that I've been targeting for the past couple of weeks now. So there's no real reason for me to get involved, because it's kind of hit my target already. So if it was to retrace before hitting that, then yeah, maybe I could look to get involved. But yeah, more downside for AUD/USD, back down to 0.74, and then from 0.74 we might see the market start to consolidate, maybe hold it, and then might see some upside from there on, and a bit of retracement, because remember we did take a big dive to the downside here for AUD/USD. So we could see the market come back up quite aggressively sooner or later, but right now more downside for AU, back down to 0.74. NZD/USD, more downside for this one. So yeah, that's why I kind of took that back, that I would sell NZD/USD, because this one hasn't actually pushed past that point yet. So if it was to pull back, I probably would consider it, see what type of price action we're getting, and I think yeah, we can come back into these lows down here for NZD/USD. We do have a nice area here of support and resistance, so resistance, support. So if it was to push back into, I think that's 0.7 on the dot pretty much. If it does pull back to 0.7, that would be a nice place to look to sell, get involved in some shorts and take that back down to these lows, and then probably 0.69 from there. If I go on the higher time frames, daily, you can still see very, very bearish, nice false break there with that wick, and we're pushing to the downside. And I think from NZD/USD point of view, we could actually come all the way to this area here, which is around 0.67, 0.68 actually, give or take. If I go on the weekly time frame, you can see this was our prior resistance here, held that as a resistance, came back through, fallen support, broke to the upside, and now we're starting to come back down again. So I think we're going to come back and retest this area here for NZD/USD. So I'm still seeing a lot more downside for NZD/USD, which does make it look a lot better to sell than AU. But the thing is, if NZD/USD is going to go fill this gap to the downside, it means that AU is probably going to go a lot further as well. So yeah, I think there's still more room to the downside. I'm still not ready yet to buy those pairs anyway. So yeah, more downside for these two pairs. I think NZD/USD back at these lows here, 0.68, and then from there we might be seeing some big moves to the upside. But as of now, looking quite bearish. And yeah, if we can get a bit of retracement, because we are coming back into this support here, we are coming back into that support. So if we can see that retracement to the upside, that would be great. Whether we get it or not, that's a whole different thing. But that is quite a big drop, to be fair. So we might get it, to be fair, maybe Friday or Monday. So yeah, we might get that retracement. If we do, look to see what happens in this area, and yeah, short it back down. Again, wouldn't probably target that support all the way down there, because that'll probably may take a couple of weeks to get there. And probably don't want to sit on the trade for a couple of weeks. But you know, back to these lows, maybe just slightly past it as well. Does look good. So yeah, looking bearish, more downside for there. Yeah, NZD/USD does look good for sure. I do agree with that. Just want to see a bit of retracement first. I mean, that's quite a big drop there, you know, on the 4H hourly, looking quite bearish. So yeah, because NZD/USD still does have that room to the downside, whereas AUD/USD has actually made some new lows recently. So that's why NZD still looks more attractive than AU. So yeah, if we can see some retracement, some healthy retracement, that would be great for NZD/USD. Take it past this support, then we can target this support down here and some new lows as well. So yeah, a bit of retracement would be great. I'm not sure if we'll get it today. Probably have to wait till Friday for that, or maybe even Monday. But yeah, I do agree. NZD looks good for shorts. AU, since it's already made those lows, it's coming into my target, which is not too far away. I'll probably just leave that alone. But yeah, I'll probably just leave that alone anyway. So NZD/USD, probably have my eye on to see if something could happen there. But like I said, I'm already in the NZD/JPY, which is a very similar pair, and this one's almost hit my target as well. So to be fair, I can still take NZD/USD since this one's really very much in profit. So I'm not really going to be too effective if anything was to happen to NZD. I'll just say New Zealand dollar, because you know my mouth's having a bit of a mouthful right now. But yeah, New Zealand dollar, if anything was to happen to that, I should be alright, because New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen, I'm really much in profit in that one. So I probably could take that. But they're pretty much the same pair anyway, pretty much the same trade. Obviously right now US dollar is a lot weaker than the yen, so that's hence that one they're moving a little bit differently right now. But yeah, more downside for both of them. If this one was to retrace back into here, it's kind of like the same situation, because if NZD does retrace a bit more to the upside, then we can probably tap into that and then see the continuation, and then see the continuation back down to new lows, which is kind of the same setup with NZD/USD. If we were to see that retracement, and then we can take it back down. But yeah, I do agree with you, Chia. Okay, yeah, sure. USD/CHF. So USD/CHF was looking for a move to the upside for this one. Then we had a big colossal move to the downside with that CHF strength. I think with this one, because if I go in the high, let me just clear the chart for a second. If we go on to the higher time frames, like the daily, you know, with a daily candle closure like that, you know, it's telling me that the market is really failing to push on. So we might be seeing the market come down again. But the thing is, with other US dollar pairs, they all look like they're showing strength in the US dollar, whereas this one looks like it's showing weakness, and it's just simply because of how strong the CHF is. So I think for USD/CHF, critical support in this area here. Let's see what happens, whether, you know, we go a lot further or price reverses at this area here and goes back up again. Just because I think we've still got strength in the US dollar. Looking at the DXY, it still looks like we've got strength there. We are coming into this trend line, so we might be seeing a bit of retracement actually. So that's probably why EUR/USD is not having as good movement to the downside as expected. Maybe for GU as well, because we are coming into this trend line here for the DXY, which I've just noticed right now, to be fair. So yeah, DXY is coming to that resistance, so hence we might be in a little bit moving to the downside, which is probably affecting Euro USD. But from a USD CHF standpoint, we still need to see that strength in the US dollar for this pair to get going to the upside. Right now, it's looking very bearish here, potentially forming a lower higher there. So yeah, as of now, I think a bit of retracement and then more downside, or maybe if we do keep that up and so price is holding this area of support, then potentially we could see another push back up again. I probably wouldn't hold that too far. Maybe target, kind of this area of resistance here, resistance there, 1, 2, support there as well. So that might be a good buy, because a very strong area of support. You can see a big move to the upside. So if the market does consolidate here quite nicely, show some nice bullish confirmations, then yeah, you could look to have some buys and look to target this area, maybe even further. But because of that big drop there, and I think CHF could carry on that strength into next week, I probably wouldn't be too overly confident holding on to buys onto USD CHF. So yeah, I think some buys could come from this area of support, but again, wait for this confirmation, because you've got all this bearish momentum against you, and preferably don't really want to be buying into that just yet. So probably stay on the sidelines a little bit with USD CHF. Not the cleanest pair in my opinion. I'll probably be staying away from it personally. But if anything, I can see some buyers setting up around this area here. But you want to see a lot more, consolidation, some wicks forming, nice strong bullish price action before you can get involved. And then if that happens, then yeah, I can look to target around this area here maybe, or if I connect that with a trend line, maybe that trend line there for a third test, something like that. So I hope that analysis helped there with the US dollar Swiss franc. But yeah, DXY is hitting that trend line, which I did not notice, to be fair. I didn't actually take a look at the DXY, to be fair. But that is something to notice there with the DXY. We are at that trend line. Of course we could break through it. But that's a whole different matter if we don't break through it. Because if we don't, we could see some downside there for the USD, which does mean that Euro USD might want to have a bit more retracement. Same thing with GPUSD, some of the other USD pairs, which we are due some retracement, to be fair. We are due some retracement for a lot of those pairs, like Pound USD, Euro USD. We are due some retracement, to be honest. But, they're still looking bullish. DXY, it's at that same area. So eyebrows are raised, to be fair. Eyebrows are raised. If we can get past it through this area, then we might be seeing a lot more downside here for the DXY, which means Euro USD might be seeing a lot more upside there as well. So I would take note of that. Let me see how Pound USD is doing. Okay, so Pound USD looks like it's trying to break through that support. Want to see a nice hourly close below that area. Still got about 33 minutes, so see what happens there. But yeah, still want to see a nice hourly close below that. And then, yeah, I'll probably just, as soon as price gets that, I'll probably just close the whole trade, because I don't think I want to stay in this trade for too much longer, knowing with that DXY. If the DXY does see some strength, this it could take it back up again. And, I don't think I want to sit in another big retracement, or it might not even be retracement, it might reverse. So, yeah, if the pound can get a nice close below that, see a nice follow through to that area, I'll close the trade and just see what happens after that. But yeah, the DXY is not looking too good there. It looks like it might see some downside now, if it does hold that trend line, of course. Yeah, no worries, Jay. Happy to help, man. Happy to help. Yeah, and the JPY is still looking quite bearish as well. So that, again, that's why I wasn't too keen on any buys on that one. Even though it's that strong support, the momentum is still very much to the downside. So if you're buying that, you'll probably have a hard time. Similar with Euro JPY, I probably imagine the market's retraced a little bit for that one as well. So yeah, as you can see, we are retracing to the downside there as well. And you can see, on 4H, the market is still overly bearish. Daily is still overly bearish as well. So momentum is still very much to the downside. So any buys there, even short-term buys, you have to be quite quick with, because the momentum could change, very quickly back bearish again. And we are seeing that happen. I'm not saying that the market's going to, take another huge dive, but, looking for buys here is just a little bit too aggressive for me, even though, yeah, we could potentially go up because we are at support. It's just a little bit aggressive. Yeah, no worries. Even if I have it, even if I have covered it, I'll still look at it again. If you haven't seen it, to be fair. Yeah, so pound JPY for this one, we're looking quite bearish here for this pair. During the live stream yesterday, we were trading around this area, and then we were expecting to see more downside for GJ, and we saw that move to the downside happen. Again, very aggressive move to the downside. Price is looking quite bearish. We are coming into that trend line that I did draw on the daily, so you can see we've got 1 point here, 2nd point there, 3rd point there, which we are testing right now. So yeah, we can see a bit of a bounce for GJ potentially, but I wouldn't say it's a bounce that I would be looking to trade. So yeah, strictly, I'm not really looking for any buys right now for pound JPY, even retracement wise, just because just look at the momentum there on the daily, momentum on the weekly as well. We've got one more day before the weekly candle closes. With that momentum in the week, yeah, I'm not looking to buy against that. Same thing with the daily as well. So the market is looking very bearish right now. I think, like I did say earlier, if the market was to retrace to the upside, I said this would be a really nice opportunity. Retrace back to here, sells from there, back to the downside, because we do have nice resistance here, support there as well. So if it were to retrace to that area, then sales to the downside do look good, do look very good there. As of right now, it does look the market wants to try and break through this support. We still got about 2.5 hours before the candle closes, so not going to take that as a breakthrough, that support. The trend line, we need to see a daily close below that trend line, because again, did draw that on the daily. But I do think we'll probably break through this trend line anyway. So yeah, for sales, for either later this week or next week, I think I'll probably wait for retracement back to the upside. We're coming into that trend line there, so either a break and retest of that trend line, or the one I'll probably be waiting for to happen and most likely want to trade is a push back into this area. Was looking at this area and then the move to the downside after that. Are you already short? Nice trade there. That's a really nice trade, to be fair. Well done. Where to get out? To be fair, if I was in the short for GJ, it'd probably be where the price is right now. To be fair, but where did you get in? Where was your entry price? Where was your entry price for getting into GJ? Because if I was in this trade, I think yesterday we were looking at this area here for shorts, because we had that nice break and retest there of that support. So we had some previous support here. We went to go and retest it again really nicely. Nice area of resistance. We wicked into it and then we collapsed to the downside. So if I was in this trade, it'll probably be around from there, and I would be targeting this trend line / that support area. So I kind of would have already been looking to exit my trade, to be fair, because we kind of hit a daily target, to be fair. So this is the area where I would have been looking to exit my trade. If you want to hold on for a little bit longer, that's fair enough. Where potentially I do see the market going, if you're looking for the longer move, it's probably back down to 150. But yeah, you're looking at next week for that. Maybe not even next week, maybe the week after, depending what we see in terms of momentum. But yeah, GJ looks good for more room to the downside. I still do see 150 getting hit, which is this support here. But yeah, it might take some time to get there. 151, 142. Oh, so you got in exactly where the price is right now. So basically, literally where price is. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, a little bit risky, if I'm going to be honest with you, a little bit risky because we just had this big drop, even though momentum is in your favor. A little bit risky just to sell on that move there. I personally wouldn't, but then momentum is very much in your favor. Prices looks like it's doing quite well. Nice wick to the upside there. So yeah, we've just passed this previous low here as well. If I was to look left, see what kind of got left. We do have these areas here. If I just use the ray for it, so that support there, that support, and that support. If I take that across, kind of got those areas there. So we've kind of hit that area there as well. Yeah, so for a short time, I would say 150.853, which is this support here. As you can see, we wicked to the downside, not wicked to the downside, we fell to the downside, big push back up again. We found these kind of steps to the upside there, and this was kind of like our last step. So I can see the market maybe pushing past this area. So yeah, 150.857 I think should be your target. And to be fair, but just be careful because the market is quite bearish, but it could pull back up. But yeah, if it's just short term, then yeah, you're riding the momentum to the downside, makes a lot of sense. So your target for me would have to be the 150.857, and if you can get past that, potentially this area here where we did have that big spike up, which is around the 156.655. So probably one of those areas there. 150.857 and 150.655 is what I would target. But like you said, you're only in there for a short period of time, so probably no need to be too aggressive with it. But yeah, that is where I would target, to be fair. So did you enter on the break and retest of that support then? So the break and retest of this support and uptime resistance. Over a year, to be fair, I wouldn't know, to be fair, over a year. Because my trading style has changed quite a lot over the past 6 months, I would say, and even more over the past year. So it's kind of changed quite a lot since my trading style has changed, and it has fluctuated quite a lot. So over a year, I wouldn't know, to be fair. Maybe I might have an idea by the end of this year, but yeah, I wouldn't actually know that. To be fair, I've only been trading for 3 years, and kind of like a year and a half I was quite on the break-even mark, just doing the break-even dance, not really going anywhere. So I wouldn't really know over a year yet. So probably another 6 months, maybe I'll know. 6-7 months. Okay, yeah. So yeah, previous support, time resistance, simple break and retest. Yeah, nice effective trade there. Yeah, so the market is definitely broken past that support. It's come back, giving us a really nice wick there. So that wick there does look really, really good. Looking quite bullish at one point. People will be trapped in some buys there, and now we pull back, and now we're pushing to the downside, taking their stops out. So it does look quite good there. And yeah, for targets, I'll probably pick one of these points here, kind of 150.857, because looking left, we did have a nice area of support around there, and also 150.655 as well, nice area of demand there. So we might tap into that area and then push back up again. So we potentially could go a lot further, but yeah, I think we might retrace after hitting one of those points, and then push back up again and come back down. Best trades, I'll probably say quite a while ago, to be fair. I made like 20% of my account in one trade, to be fair. I think I was risking like 3% or 2%, I think. I can't remember. But it was a short on Euro USD. Short on Euro USD. I can actually remember the trade, to be fair, if I just scroll across. It was this trade here. So I think I entered around about here, something like that. I think my entry's on like 30 minutes, so it's a little bit higher up. But then yeah, I had this whole move to the downside. So that is I think that's probably my best trade that I can remember, to be fair. To be fair, recently I had quite similar trades to that. Maybe not as many, maybe not as much of that, to be fair, but from what I can remember, that's probably one of my best trades. With fear of missing out, good question, to be fair. Fear of missing out, I think I think it's the belief in yourself. I started believing in myself a lot more, because fear of missing out, I don't think you ever really overcome that. Maybe eventually you do, but so far I don't think you really overcome that. I think it's just more the belief in yourself. Like, if you're looking at the market and you see an opportunity, you take it. And then if you look at the market, you don't see an opportunity, you don't take it. It doesn't matter if the market's doing this, that, or doing some mad crazy move. If there's no opportunity, you don't take it. So there is no real fear of missing out, because there's nothing you're missing out on, because it is an opportunity. And then when it is the opportunity, you take it. So it's kind of like when you kind of see it in black and white, the fear of missing out kind of goes away. But then again, you always have the fear of missing out, because this week I've already missed like 2 or 3 trades that I was planning on the weekend to take, like USD short. I was planning on the weekend to take that short, but I did miss that trade. But then the opportunity's gone. Now there's no opportunity, therefore there's no trade for me. So once you have that black and white of what you're looking for, and I think the answer is just to know what you're looking for in the markets. When you really know what you're looking for, like in terms of the very detailed thing, it doesn't have to be complicated either. It can be really simple. But when you know what you're looking for, then there is no real fear of missing out, because it's either there or it's not, and it could be quite easy as that. So yeah, my advice is just understand what it really is you're looking for, and then when it's there, take it. When it's don't take it, and just have a really detailed plan as well that you can follow to the T, and just believe in yourself a little bit more, and just just know that you don't have to catch every trade to be profitable. There's some people that just focus on one pair, and they make their money off that, while the other pairs doing crazy moves, and they don't care what's going on, because they're just sticking to what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, for Forex, we come here to make money, not to take every move, not to capture every move. We come here to make money. And a lot of people actually forget that, to be fair. Even though you think it's obvious, a lot of people actually forget that. Oh, sorry to hear that, Jermaine, to be fair. Personally, I haven't had much experience with COVID, so I don't know too much about that, but I hope your family is doing well. Yeah, I mean, please do. You're more than welcome to come back and join us on the live streams. You're very much appreciated in the live streams. CHF JPY. So for this one, so okay, I assume that you're quite a long-term trader there. Previous a month's high. Oh. Okay, so yeah, month's high is that push there. So yeah, CHF JPY, looking at it from a monthly point of view, still very bullish market. Still creating higher highs and higher lows. The market is still very bullish. So looking for buyers, is definitely the correct thing to do if you're looking for a break of the prior month's high. If I was you, I'll be aware of this kind of area here, because what we're seeing in CHF JPY so far is the market is looking a little bit bearish here on the daily. You can still see, if I just get rid of that area there, you can still see we are moving to the downside here. So push, pull back, push, pull back. We can still potentially push the downside back into this area here. But I think for you, Jermaine, focus on this area of resistance here that I just drew on that monthly time frame. So this area of resistance, all these wicks around the 118,500, 118 price, because I think we're going to tap into this area here, and then if we do keep up that monthly price action, which does look quite good, then from here you can look for some buys, probably on the daily chart or something, and then yeah, you can probably look to target and break through that monthly high and give us some new highs. So it does look like a good opportunity there, looking at the higher time frames. The monthly time frame has recently just broke through that resistance. We're looking very bullish here. So if we do keep up that price action, I do expect to see this level hold and then the move back to those highs happen. If we do get underneath that, then it potentially is a false breakout and we could actually be coming to the downside a lot further. So if that's the case, we'll scratch that or reevaluate what CHF wants to do after that. But for now, very strong area of resistance. You can see we rejected so many times. Oh, that's just not a place where price rejected. So there again as well. So very strong area of resistance will be turned to support. So we'll see what the month does, see what the weekly does in this support, and then yeah, from there we get to buy, take it some new highs. If it gets below, scratch that. We'll reevaluate, see what price wants to do from that on. But right now, strong resistance turn support. Buys from there do look like a good idea. So if I was you, just focus on this level, focus on that price, see what happens in terms of the daily candlesticks, the weekly candlesticks, and then yeah, there could be a nice long opportunity there. No worries. Yeah, GU is looking good for what I did see like 20 minutes ago. Not on the monthly, hourly. Yeah, GU is looking good, to be fair. It looks like we're trying to break through this support here. I still want to see a close below that support. We still got about 14 minutes left before that candle closes, give or take. So if you can get a really nice close below that support, that will fill me with a lot of confidence that the next few candles can go fill that gap and see a test of that support. And then when that happens, I'll probably just get out the trade. But yeah, GU is looking a lot better. Euro USD still taking its time to have that resistance. I think the DXY is affecting this one a little bit too much, but we'll see what happens at that resistance there. When I have a bad day in trading, how do I stop yourself from getting emotional? I'll probably say experience is definitely my biggest teacher, but having a plan as well. Having a plan that you have faith in stops you from getting emotional, because at the end of the day, whenever I take a loss, there is still some hurt, because at the end of the day you are giving money aside that you would happily want to keep. So that emotional attachment to money will probably always be there. It'll probably eventually die out, but it probably always will be there to some extent. But to stop yourself from getting emotional, just having a plan. How many trades you want to take a week, or how much you're risking a week. If you're risking like 5% a week, then at 5%, that's your cut-off point. When you hit 5%, you're done for the week. You look ahead to the next one. So always having a plan stops you from getting emotional, because there's a plan of action there. There's nothing to really stop. There's nothing really I can say that will stop you from feeling emotional, to be fair. It's just knowing what to do when you do get emotional. When you do get emotional, don't look at the charts. Get away from the charts. Go for a walk or something. And also have it in your plan. What to do when you do get emotional as well. So if you do find yourself getting emotional after a loss, write down in your plan what's best for you after a loss. Is it getting away from your charts? Is it going over that trade, or going for a walk or doing some exercise or something? Release that emotion. So yeah, be really detailed in your plan. It will help you in the long run. Yeah, Euro JPY. Okay, so yeah, just taking precaution for the news there, William. I mean, the market is still looking quite bearish. I can imagine it's still pushing in a direction, but news might cause a bit of noise beforehand. But I think it's still looking good for more shorts. But yeah, playing it safe. There's nothing too wrong with that. I mean, imagine you already secured profit on that one, so at the end of the day, you still won that trade. So yeah, well done for that. USD CAD, yeah, we'll take a look at USD CAD. Hello Rex, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, USD CAD for this one, we've had a massive move to the upside recently. You can see there, just looking at the daily, big move to the upside. We broke through this trend line and price is still pushing up. For USD CAD, I still do see more upside for this pair. Again, we do have this resistance here, 1.26500, with all these wicks here, so I still do see USD CAD pushing to the upside to come test that area. It might hit that area next week, potentially. But yeah, I think more upside for this pair. It's still looking quite bullish. We do have prior resistance going across here, which will now be support. So I think maybe for USD CAD, we might be in a bit of retracement mode now, which is perfectly fine. And it might come back to this area here and then push back on. So if you're looking for an opportunity that could look good, just a break and retest of that resistance, and then a continuation back to the 1.26400 area, stroke 500, and then yeah, and then that move to the upside. So yeah, USD CAD, more buys for that one. Right now it is still very bullish, so I think we're going to see some retracement, maybe some short-term sells if you're on the lower time frames, maybe the 5 minute, potentially that could look alright. But yeah, personally for me, very bullish here for USD CAD, so I'm not looking to sell the pair really, only looking to buy the pair. And if I was to buy the pair, the break and retest of that area does look quite good. Wait to see what type of price action we get there, and then if we do look good, get some nice confirmations, could look to take that higher back into 1.26400. So yeah, USD CAD, more upside for that one. And no, I did not post the GU signal in the Telegram, because again, I was using kind of the smaller time frames, and normally when I post on the Telegram, it's normally 4 hour, or sometimes I start to do hourly as well. But if you guys want to see lower time frame trades as well, and by that I mean like 15 minute, 30 minute, then yeah, I'll probably start posting that on Telegram as well. But I normally keep the Telegrams like hourly and 4 hourly candle closes. I did post the NZD JPY trade, to be fair, yesterday, I'm pretty sure, and the Telegram to the downside, and that one's doing okay. I did post pound CAD as well. That one did okay to start with, but then it did start flying to the upside. As you can see, huge move to the upside there. But yeah, I did not post the pound USD because I was using the lower time frames. But if people want to start seeing the low time frames as well and don't mind trading them, then yeah, I'll probably start posting them on the Telegram as well. Still see pound USD slightly pulling back up again. Yeah, so it's important to see how that candle closes, whether it pulls back up, because if it does pull back up and give another wick, that's not looking very good. It still break through the support, of course, but if it does pull back up and give another wick below that support, that zone that I've drawn, yeah, that wouldn't look too good. I'll probably see what the next candle wants to do after that. But yeah, I'm still on for sales for GBUSD. I still think we can reach those lows. It's just taking its sweet time. GJ already flew out the sky, to be fair. As you can see, and it's still falling out the sky, to be fair, as well. And I don't think USD is that strong, so that's why it's having such a hard time. But yeah, I still do see more downside for GBUSD, but hopefully we can get an hourly close below that level. If not, we'll see what happens in the next few candles, because we are starting to form these lower highs here in the market, as you can see. got an area there, area there, area there, area there, area there. So we're making these lower highs, which is a good thing, which is giving us the impression that price wants to move lower. So as long as we can keep those intact, then I'll probably still remain in this trade. But starting to lose patience. But we're so close. There's no need for me to do anything really, and just sit and wait to see what GU wants to do. Yeah, so we are coming up to the end of the live stream shortly, not just yet. But if anyone wants me to take a look at any different pairs or wants my opinion on any trades that are in, let me know. Put it down in the chat and we'll take a look at it together. Yeah, so currently in pound USD and NZD JPY, both of them are very close to take profit. If I'm thinking about closing NZD JPY very soon anyway. This is the trade that I'm in currently right now. My TP is just below this support here because I do think we can see some new lows there for NZD JPY. Since AD JPY, very similar pair, moves quite similar to NZD JPY. As you can see, we've flown past this previous support here in the market. This was the previous low. We took a nice move up, and as you can see, we've actually gone really I've gone quite far past that support, so I am anticipating new lows for NZD JPY past that point. So that's why I'm still holding on to the trade. It has hit that support, so technically, it's at that area where I could exit the trade, but I think there's still a few more pips price can catch. I already take some partial at that area, so still respecting that as a valid area of support where the market could potentially reverse. Still take my partial just in case that does happen, but I still do see a bit more downside for NZD JPY before I do close my trade completely. But yeah, still in these two trades and see how they get going, and hopefully they'll be done by the end of the week. If GPUSD is still moving like this by the end of Friday, I'll probably just close the trade anyway because I don't really want to stay over the weekend whilst prices like this, and it might gap up and just continue to the upside. So yeah, if the market does stay this over Friday, I will just exit the trade, and hopefully NZJPY can go and hit that target, but we'll see what happens. Okay, Euro GBP buys. Oh wow, yeah, Euro GBP is soaring. So I did say it earlier, Euro GBP is looking good for buys for this pair. Before we did have this big move to the upside, because we did see a very strong reaction here to the upside. As you can see, big candle compared to the rest, and then again yesterday I believe, again another big candle closing to the upside, engulfing several bearish candles, and now we're seeing a very strong reaction as well, and then as you can see it's following through to the upside. So Euro GBP is looking very, very bullish here right now. It's giving me the impression that price does not want to break through that support and is holding on to that same area. So if the market doesn't want to break through that support, the only direction where it should go is up. We do have that trend line there, which is acting as resistance. If we do see a nice daily candle closure above that, that'll fill me with a lot of confidence. And I think looking for buys is looking really good here for Euro GBP. And also said on the weekly as well, we do have an indication from a weekly point of view that the market does want to move higher, because you can see here, had a nice drop to the downside, and as soon as we had that drop to the downside, the market immediately lost all that bearish momentum. As you can see, wicks to either side are all over the shop here. The market wasn't really moving very well. So the market is definitely telling us that there's no bearish momentum here. We're finding support, and if it wants to relieve itself, most likely that direction is to the upside. So even from a weekly point of view, looking like we're seeing some upside. Daily, looks like we're struggling to break through that support. A nice daily close above that trend line would be great. So yeah, I do agree with you with those buys there for Euro GBP. TP 0.86130. So I imagine that to be this resistance here. Yeah, it does look really good there, to be fair. I mean, I personally see Euro GBP going further than that, but yeah, I think that's a really nice target, and should see price hit that. Okay, that's your first TP, to be fair. Second take profit is 0.85. Okay, no, that's your entry. I was going to say that's below your TP. Entry 0.855, 0.856. Okay, so around this area here. So yeah, that's a really nice trade there, Jermaine. That's a really nice trade there. It looks like you caught it right at the bottom with that momentum in your direction. So yeah, looking like a really great trade there, and potentially one that you can hold if you want to for a longer term. Because if this does play out, we've got several areas we could target, basically wherever price makes contact with this trend line. So the resistance up here is a target, the resistance up here is another target, the resistance up here is another target, and so on, all the way up to the highs. So yeah, there's a lot of places where you can target, and a lot of places where your GP might find resistance. But I think if you just target these areas here as price goes on, take your partials, have your end goal as well. It does look really good for Euro GP for longs here, and I think if not this week, so I don't think I'll probably look to get involved later today, because right now Euro GP is still quite bullish. But I think probably not Friday either, maybe coming into next week, depending on what Euro GP is looking like, how the weekly candles closed. I'll probably look to get involved in some buys as well for Euro GP and see how far we can take this one to the upside, because it's looking quite good. But anyway, guys, it is come up to 12 p.m. It is coming up to the end of the live stream. So I'm going to do quick rundown on some of the pairs that we've looked at previously, see how they've gotten on like usual, and see if I'm in any trades and see how they're going as well. So Euro GBP, like we just said here, looking for buys for this one. Actually, not looking for buys now. This move is already very much underway. If anything, you want to see some retracement to get back into it. But right now, Euro GBP is looking very, very bullish here. It's looking like potentially we could see a break of that trend line. We still do have about 10 hours or so before that daily candle closes, so a lot could happen in that time. Of course, we could easily see a pullback of that, but because price is holding onto that support, it is telling me that if we don't break it today, we might break it on tomorrow's candle with Friday's daily candle closure. But either way, I do see more upside for Euro GBP, just because it looks like we're holding onto this support here in the market. Next, we're going to take a look at Euro USD. So Euro USD, we're finding a bit of support here. I think we might actually be at a trend line I haven't seen yet. So no, we're not actually at that trend line yet, but on the DXY we have actually hit a trend line, and prices find the resistance on the DXY, hence why Euro USD is having this push to the upside. Overall, Euro USD is still bearish, so I can still see more downside for Euro USD. But it looks like we might get a bit deeper retracement for this pair before price comes back down again, and maybe see a test of that trend line even further. So yeah, Euro USD, as long as it stays below this resistance here in the market, I still do see another drop to the downside. As long as it stays below 1.188, more downside for that pair. But yeah, it looks like the retracement I don't think is quite finished yet because it's looking quite bullish. So maybe you might see a bit more upside and then the collapse to the downside. Pound USD currently in a position for that, looking for moves to the downside for that pair. Looking to see if we can get a move back down to that support. You can see that candle there, like I was speaking earlier, guys. That candle was looking quite bearish, and it actually pulled back up and actually closed out that support there. So that is not looking too good there for GBUSD. But like I said, still going to remain that trade. Still do see price coming back here. It just means that price might consolidate a little bit further. If it does start breaking to the upside, start taking out these lower highs, then yeah, I'll probably look to close the whole thing really, just because it's been moving sideways. But yeah, we'll see how GBUSD gets on. If we can get a break of that, then yeah, TP is there, but we'll see what happens. I don't plan on staying the trade past Friday anyway, so we'll see what happens with that one. But my bias is still currently to the downside, just that we're having such a tough time trying to break through that support. But yeah, more downside for that pair. GJ still looking bearish, I would imagine. Yes, looking quite bearish. We do have that trend line and that support there on the daily, so price is having a little bit of a hard time, but we still do have areas there potentially price might push to. But as you can see there on the daily, we are at that trend line. So for pound JPY, for me, I'm waiting for a retracement for this pair. Again, we do have that trend line, so if you do a break and retest, that'll be great. Or if you were to retrace from that trend line, that'll be great as well, and come back into this area. Really nice area to look to sell from, back into that trend line and a lot further as well. Prior resistance here, prior support will be term resistance there as well. So if you can make a way there, great place to look for sells and then take it back down. But yeah, my bias for GPJPY is bearish, but personally I'm waiting for some retracement on that pair. AUD/USD still overly bearish on this pair as well. Targets was 0.74, which we have almost reached. If I do zoom out, you can see 0.74 is this resistance here, which now will be turned support. So I do want to see a test of that area, and as you can see, we're very close. It might not do it today, it might do it tomorrow. But yeah, I do still see more downside for AUD/USD. For opportunities, not really looking at this pair right now. Recently just created some new lows, so don't really want to look to sell it, and not really ready to buy it either. So I'm going to stay away from AUD/USD, but a little bit more into the downside, tap into 0.74, and then from there we might see some upside. And the USD, actually, if I was to take another trade this week, it probably would be NZD/USD shorts. But right now, still looking quite bearish. Like I said earlier, I want to see a bit of retracement from this pair. Do have this area which does look quite interesting. Nice area of resistance there, 1, 2, support there as well. So price has been respecting this area quite nicely. So if we do come back up to tap that area, it will raise my eyebrows. I will look to probably get short and see a move back into this support down here, maybe even some new lows as well. So NZD/USD is on the watch list for the rest of the week. Whether we do get that retracement or not too sure. But yeah, if that does happen, I will be looking to get involved. So that's the only pair that I'll probably look to trade this week, if that does have the rest of the week anyway, if we do get an opportunity. USD CAD, more upside for this one. As you can see, nice area of resistance there as well, daily candles pushing past this trend line here, and I do see resistance getting tested up there for USD CAD with all that bullish momentum. So more upside for USD CAD back into that resistance, and then potentially see a push even further. And currently my second trade that I'm in is NZD/JPY. Currently looking for some new lows past that wick there, which is quite close. We've kind of hit that support already. So if the market does start to have another push back up again, I'll probably just look to exit the trade really, because it's kind of already hit my TP. I just want to see if we can get a little bit more juice out of that move. But yeah, NZD/JPY in those shorts, so you can get a little bit more room to the downside for this pair. But yeah, we'll see how that gets going on into Friday. Probably wouldn't stay this trade over the weekend either. Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, happy to do it. To be fair, I enjoy analyzing the charts with you guys. So you know, benefits are all, to be fair. No problem, Jermaine. I mean, happy to help, man. Happy to help. That does mean a lot that, you know, you can actually see some help from my channel, and that's what it's there for, to be fair. So if it's doing its job. Thanks again for joining the live stream as well. Thanks to everyone for joining the live stream. Does mean a lot. First Thursday live stream back for quite some time, and we will be doing this regularly as well. So 3 days a week. Maybe you might convince me to do more than 3 days. We'll take it baby steps. Don't want to rush into anything, you know. But yeah, I've had a great time. Hope you guys had a great time as well. Yeah, no problem for that as well. I will be doing more posts on that Telegram as well, so make sure you keep a lookout for that. And that NZD USD short move, if I do get a signal for that, I will post it on the Telegram. But thanks to everyone again for joining the live stream. Does mean a lot. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, does mean a lot. Hit the like button if you haven't as well. It does help the channel out. But thanks again for watching the live stream, and I hope you all have a good week, good weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.